Buckingham Palace has officially announced that Lady Louise, the daughter of Prince Edward, will become an official working royal. The only daughter of Prince Edward and Duchess Sophie, Lady Louise Alice Elizabeth Mary Mountbatten Windsor has recently made significant moves and public appearances in her role as an official working royal. This comes as she turns 22, an age where she is entitled to decide for herself whether she wishes to shoulder the heavy responsibilities that accompany the title of princess. These actions serve as the answer to the emergence of a core prestigious royal member, someone the late Queen specifically cherished and referred to as the British royal family's secret weapon. However, lurking in the background, Queen Camilla has orchestrated plans and schemes to eliminate Louise's influence, driven by her ambition to monopolize power. How will Lady Louise and Duchess Sophie respond? Will Louise become the new capable right hand to Prince William, filling the void left by Harry? Lady Louise Windsor. At 22, the young woman radiates a demeanor so calm it borders on cold, a stark contrast to the social smiles often seen among the aristocracy. She eschews magnificent diamond jewelry, opting instead for a simply cut navy blue suit. Yet, it is precisely this simplicity that exudes the authority of pure Windsor blood. King Charles steps up to the podium, his voice resonant, clear, and full of inner strength. Dispelling all doubts regarding his health, he announces the completion of legal procedures to officially bestow the title of princess upon Louise. Not merely a name, but a title accompanied by the privileges and responsibilities of a full-time working royal. However, the true shock comes from the Prince of Wales. Stepping up to follow his father, William uses a phrase that political observers have never heard in previous royal texts. William calls Louise the secret weapon. He emphasizes that this was the title the late Queen Elizabeth Roman II used in private conversations during her final days to describe her youngest granddaughter. William's public use of this term is not merely a display of brotherly affection. It is a carefully calculated political move. It establishes Louise's position not as an executive, but as a guardian. She represents stability, the core traditional values that Queen Elizabeth painstakingly cultivated. And most importantly, she represents a young, scandal-free generation. From the shadowed corner of the VIP box, Queen Camilla watches this performance with a terrifying silence. She keeps a perfectly standard smile on her lips, her white gloved hands resting lightly on her lap, but her mind is racing with fierce calculations. For Camilla, Louise's emergence and elevation is not welcome news of family unity, but a tangible threat. Camilla understands her position clearly. She is the queen, but she is the queen consort, a title gained through marriage and the late queen's belated approval. She possesses no royal blood. Her power depends entirely on her influence over King Charles. When Charles is ailing, she is the representative, the substitute voice, the center of attention. But as Charles recovers and begins to build a succession team based on bloodline, her position shrinks. Louise, as the Queen's favorite granddaughter, carries within her the legitimacy that Camilla has craved her entire life, but can never possess. The media's adulation of Louise immediately following the ceremony further fuels Camilla's anxiety. Headlines ceaselessly praise the new princess's intellectual beauty and music, aristocratic humility. Camilla realizes a bitter truth in the eyes of the public and King Charles. Louise is a reflection of Queen Elizabeth in her youth. If Louise becomes a close advisor to William and Charles, Camilla's voice in royal policy will be pushed back behind bedroom walls. She would return to being a wife who merely decorates the throne rather than the co-regent she has always aspired to be. Upon returning to Clarence House, Camilla immediately summons a closed-door meeting with her private media advisory team. She does not scream or smash things. Her rage is music compressed into a block of icy scheming. She analyzes the situation sharply. Charles is in recovery. His psychological state is high-spirited but extremely sensitive to anything regarding legacy and image. He wants his reign to be perfect. Louise's strength is her normality and simplicity. Therefore, Camilla will turn that very strength into a fatal weakness. She will prove to Charles that this secret weapon is actually a ticking time bomb that could tarnish the dignity he is trying to build. The PR campaign for Lady Louise continues to escalate in the following days, and ironically, it strikes at Camilla's deepest obsession, the ghost of the past. Images of Lady Louise controlling a 4-wheeled carriage in Windsor Park flood the newspapers. This is no ordinary leisurely horseback ride. This is carriage driving, the exclusive legacy and burning passion of the late Prince Philip. The image of Louise with her blonde hair flying in the wind, hands gripping the reins firmly, eyes fixed steadfastly ahead, creates a powerful visual effect. She not only resembles her grandfather in appearance, but has also inherited his decisive, strong temperament. Public opinion and royal experts unanimously sing her praises. They call this the resurrection of Philip's spirit, proof that the Windsor blood still flows strong and proud. King Charles, during private receptions, cannot hide his emotion when mentioning his niece. For a man who has just brushed past music death like Charles, the connection to his departed parents through the grandchild generation is a priceless spiritual tonic. He begins to view Louise as a lucky charm, a symbol of the family's longevity. However, the straw that broke the camel's back for Camilla comes from an interview given by the Duchess Sophie. Usually a private person, Sophie makes a bold move to protect her daughter. On the BBC, she shares previously unrevealed memories. My father-in-law, Prince Philip, spent his final days training Louise. He gave her not just the technique of carriage driving, but the philosophy of leadership. He used to say, "The one holding the reins must know when to let go, when to tighten, and most importantly, must keep a cool head." He was overjoyed to see that Louise possessed that quality. Sophie's words strike Camilla like a dagger. It not only affirms Louise's status as the favorite, but subtly implies leadership and a cool head, qualities that Camilla's faction is often criticized for lacking. Camilla feels besieged by ghosts. Louise's presence, the praise for Philip's bloodline, all remind Camilla that she remains forever the newcomer, the one who squeezed into a family with history and rules to which she never truly belongs. Camilla determines that she cannot attack Louise directly while she is protected by the halo of Philip and Elizabeth. Any attack on Louise now would be seen as disrespectful to the dead and would displease King Charles. She needs a strategy that is indirect but more ruthless. Cut off Louise's support, and the greatest support, the architect of this beautiful image, is Duchess Sophie. In her private office, Camilla flips through the files on Edward and Sophie's family. She searches for cracks, for weaknesses to exploit. Her eyes stop at reports from last summer when Louise took a summer job at a garden center for minimum wage. At the time, the public praised her humility, but Camilla, with her seasoned experience in media manipulation, knows that the line between humble and common is very thin. It depends entirely on the storytelling. She picks up the phone to call Clive, her trusted crisis management mogul. The plan is drawn. Do not attack Louis's character. Attack the dignity of the monarchy. Turn Louise's simplicity into slovenliness, and turn Sophie's upbringing into a failure to prepare a princess. Camilla wants Charles to feel ashamed. She wants him to believe that letting Louise represent the monarchy will lower the class of the throne he sits upon. The smear campaign begins not with loud explosions, but with poisonous whispers infiltrating the corners of public opinion. Under the direction of Camilla's faction, the underground media network begins releasing in-depth analysis editorials in tabloids and extreme royalist forums. The headlines are not direct insults, but are filled with sarcasm and disdain. The British monarchy, or a convenience store when a princess works for 6 an hour, or the failure of royal education. Why was Lady Louise not prepared for greater roles? The content of the articles drills into a fallacious argument that a senior royal dubbed the secret weapon having to do manual labor, carrying plant pots and counting small change, is an insult to the crown. They ask questions. Is Edward and Sophie's family destitute? Or worse, does Louise lack the intellectual capacity to handle cerebral work, forcing her parents to let her do menial jobs, to act the part of a normal person? Malicious comments from bot accounts flood social media, weaving a narrative that Louise suffers from social anxiety, is slow-witted, and that William promoting her is merely an act of charity to cover up his cousin's incompetence. The impact of this campaign on King Charles is immediate and exactly as Camilla predicted. Charles is a man of the old generation who values protocol and dignity almost absolutely. In his recovery phase, he becomes even more sensitive to his and his family's image. He wants his reign to exude majesty and class. Articles describing his niece as a poor manual laborer wound the king's pride. Camilla chooses the right moment to deliver the psychological finishing blow. During private dinners, when Charles is weary after a day of treatment and work, she begins to pour sweet poison-laced words into his ear. She does not criticize Louise. On the contrary, she feigns sympathy and worry. "Look at this, Charles," she says, her voice gentle and pained as she shows him selected negative articles. "I told you William was too hasty. Louise is a very good girl, but pushing her into the light too soon when she hasn't shed the garden center girl image is a mistake. The public doesn't see humility. They are laughing at us. They say the monarchy is losing its mystique, music, and elegance." Charles falls silent, his brow furrowed tight. Camilla continues to attack his fear. "You are working hard to rebuild international prestige. We need images that are magnificent, strong people who can stand on equal footing with heads of state. Louise, perhaps she is better suited for a life in the countryside. Forcing her to wear a coat that is too big only makes her and us a laughingstock." Camilla's manipulation is sophisticated music in that she swaps concepts. She disguises her jealousy as protecting music, the dignity of King Charles, with his mind wavering and his self-esteem bruised by the media, begins to believe that he needs to protect Louise by hiding her away. He starts harboring intentions to revoke plans for Louise to appear in upcoming diplomatic events. After successfully sowing doubt in King Charles's mind, Camilla moves to phase 2 of the plan. Isolation. She exploits the king's health condition to the fullest to establish a firewall around him, blocking all attempts at clarification or access from Edward and Sophie's family. Under the guise of doctor's orders, Camilla demands the maximum reduction of unnecessary meetings to ensure King Charles gets his rest. She appoints herself the right to censor the guest list and the content of discussions. The Queen's office becomes a checkpoint of power, deciding who gets to see the king and what information reaches his ears. At Kensington Palace, Prince William clearly senses this abnormal shift. He receives a notice from his father's private secretary that the important strategic meeting regarding Louise's role in the Commonwealth has been cancelled indefinitely. The reason given is vague. The king needs to reduce his workload. But William knows well that this morning his father was healthy enough to walk in the gardens and receive a few ambassadors. This obstruction does not come from medicine, it comes from politics. Situation at Bagshot Park, the residence of Sophie's family, is even blearer. Sophie tries to contact her brother-in-law to explain the false rumors, but every call is redirected. Charles's trusted courtiers, who used to exchange information with her regularly, suddenly become evasive. They fear confronting the Queen's rising power. The consequences of this isolation weigh heavily on Lady Louise's shoulders. The 22-year-old girl, initially full of enthusiasm to serve, now feels like a sinner. She is removed from the list accompanying King Charles on his upcoming tour of Scotland, an event he had personally promised to take her on. Uncle Charles's silence makes Louise believe he is truly disappointed in her. The feeling of abandonment and being misunderstood leaves her bewildered and self-reproachful. Sophie watches her daughter crumble, her heart breaking. She realizes that Camilla doesn't just want to win the power struggle. She wants to destroy Louise's spirit. She wants Louise to withdraw out of a complex to prove that the assessment of Louise is weak is correct. But it is in this corner that the instinct of a mother and the resilience of a seasoned woman rise within Sophie. She understands that silence now means admitting defeat. Camilla is using the king's health as a shield, thinking it impenetrable. Sophie decides it is time to shatter that illusion. She will not let her daughter become a victim of a dirty Game of Thrones. Unable to access King Charles, Sophie chooses to go straight into the enemy's lair. She sends a formal request to meet at Clarence House, not to beg but to confront. Camilla, confident in her current position, agrees to the meeting, seeing it as an opportunity to disarm her opponent one last time. The meeting takes place in the garden room, Camilla's private domain. The space is luxuriously decorated, filled with the scent of roses and Earl Grey tea, but the air between the two women is as cold as winter frost. Camilla sits in a velvet armchair, exuding the leisurely, condescending demeanor of a superior. She does not stand to welcome her sister-in-law, merely nodding slightly and signaling the servant. "Pour tea, Sophie. What a surprise that you came." Camilla opens, her voice artificially sweet. "Charles is napping. You know, he needs absolute quiet to recover." Sophie sits opposite, her back straight. Looking directly at Camilla, "I didn't come to see Charles. I came to speak with you about Louise." Camilla sets her teacup down, the smile on her lips carrying a look of contemptuous pity. "Oh, poor Louise, I know you are heartbroken by what the papers are writing, but you must understand Charles, and I only want what is best for her. The world is too cruel for girls as fragile as she is. I think the best solution now is for Louise to withdraw. Let her go to the countryside, find a decent husband, and live a quiet life. It is the only way to protect what dignity remains. You are suggesting I hide her away because of rumors you created yourself?" Sophie asks back, her voice strangely calm. Camilla's expression changes. The smile vanishes, replaced by visible steel and cruelty. She leans forward, lowering her voice to a whisper, yet every word hisses through her teeth like a blade. "Music I am not suggesting, Sophie. I am commanding. I am the queen. Charles listens to me. If you stubbornly persist in pushing Louise music to compete for the spotlight, then what the papers wrote this week is merely the prelude. I hold the entire media system in my hand. I can turn her into a princess, but I can also turn her into a national laughingstock forever. Music, choose a comfortable, secluded life or public destruction. This is the ultimatum." Camilla believes fear will make Sophie submit, but she is mistaken. Sophie does not flinch. She looks at Camilla not with fear, but with the disdain reserved for a usurper. You think you have one because you control Charles's eyes and ears. Sophie retorts, her voice hardening. You have forgotten a fundamental fact, Camilla. You are the queen consort. Your power is borrowed. Louise, however, carries the queen's blood, and Queen Elizabeth, even after laying down to rest, still has ways to protect what she cherished. Sophie stands up, music adjusting her coat with pride. You just threatened my daughter. You just violated the greatest taboo that the queen foresaw. Enjoy this cup of tea, Camilla, for very likely this is the last time you will sit in this seat as the one giving orders. Sophie turns and walks away, leaving Camilla sitting there with a vague sense of unease beginning to creep into her mind. 2 days after the gunpowder-scented meeting, King Charles presides over an extended family meeting at Windsor Castle, arranged by Camilla. The purpose of this meeting is to streamline the personnel apparatus, a flowery phrase for officially pushing Louise out of important royal duties. Charles sits at the head of the table, his expression grave. Music Camilla sits to his right, looking triumphant, believing everything is settled. William sits to the left, his face tense. Opposite them are Edward and Sophie. When Camilla begins to present the new personnel plan, emphasizing Louise's need for private time, Sophie suddenly stands up. She does not argue. She does not justify. She quietly pulls from her leather briefcase an envelope yellowed by time. On the envelope is a dark red wax seal with the personal coat of arms of Queen Elizabeth Roman II. The space in the room seems to freeze. King Charles immediately recognizes his mother's handwriting. "What is this?" he asks. "Your Majesty," Sophie says, her voice resonant and solemn. "This is a supplementary memorandum accompanying the Queen's will. It was kept secret and only to be triggered in an emergency, when the integrity of the family and the status of direct heirs are threatened by internal interference." Camilla gives a faint smile, trying to hide her anxiety. Internal interference, we're all one family. Sophie ignores her, opens the document, and begins to read. Every word of the late queen rings out like an oracle from past. I, Elizabeth R., leave this instruction to protect the stability of the House of Windsor after I am gone. I specifically designate my granddaughter, Lady Louise Windsor, as guardian of heritage. She shall be responsible for upholding core values and serving as a direct aid to the Prince of Wales. But the real shock lies in the next clause. Sophie turns the page, reading each word loudly and clearly. In the event that the Queen Consort engages in any behavior exploiting personal influence over the monarch to cause division, isolate blood royals, or damage the reputation of those I trust, the Privy Council and the Prince of Wales are empowered to activate the clause stripping the consort of political participation rights. At that time, the voice of the guardian of heritage shall hold veto power over related personnel decisions. The room sinks into a deathly silence. The blood drains from Camilla's face. She stares at the paper as if looking at a death sentence. For her ambition, Queen Elizabeth had seen through it all. She had foreseen that Camilla would exploit Charles's affection to seize power, and she had installed a legal kill switch to protect her descendants. William takes the document, verifies its legality, and hands it to King Charles. The king holds the paper, his hands trembling. He reads his mother's lines over and over again. The truth is laid bare before him like a blinding light dispelling the fog. He connects everything: the rumors smearing Louise, the isolation of his brother's family, Camilla's pillow talk. He realizes he was not the decision maker, but had been turned into a puppet music in his wife's hands. He looks up at Camilla. His eyes no longer hold blind affection, but the utter disappointment and pain of a king whose trust has been betrayed. "Camilla, what have you done? You used my recovery to fight against my own family. The storm has passed over Windsor Castle, leaving a clear sky, but the order of power has changed forever. King Charles, as the head of the family and a man of honor, did not choose a noisy divorce. He chose a colder, crueler punishment for someone who craves power like Camilla. Neutralization. An internal restructuring takes place quietly but decisively. In accordance with the Queen's will and William's consensus, Queen Camilla's powers are completely stripped. She is removed from council meetings, no longer has access to confidential documents, and is forbidden from interfering in any royal personnel decisions. She retains the title of Queen, still appears beside the king at ceremonies, smiling and music waving, but in reality, she has become a living statue, possessing the form but lacking the voice. Her influence over Charles has been severed, her trusted quarters transferred or fired. In contrast, Lady Louise Windsor officially steps into the light. No longer the girl whose ability was doubted, Louise is appointed as special advisor to Prince William, responsible for youth projects and the Commonwealth heritage. The story concludes with a highly symbolic image at the Trooping the Colour Parade a few weeks later. On the balcony of Buckingham Palace, King Charles stands in the center waving to the tens of thousands of cheering citizens. To his right are William and Kate, and to his left, standing right next to the king, is Lady Louise Windsor. She wears an honorary military uniform, medals on her chest, her face radiating a majesty and composure, just like the late Queen Elizabeth in her youth. Her eyes shine bright, looking forward to where the future of the monarchy lies wide open. She is living proof that blood never lies. Meanwhile, in the background, peering through the curtains of a quiet room, Camilla looks out. She sees the crowd chanting Charles's name, William's name, and even Louise's name. No one calls her name. She stands there alone in the very magnificent palace she spent a lifetime trying to enter, realizing she lost this war before it even began. She tried to fight a great ghost, and that ghost used the hands of a young girl to push her back into the darkness forever. Down in courtyard, Sophie Music looks up at the balcony where her daughter is shining brilliantly. She places her hand on her left chest where she keeps a miniature copy of the fateful letter and smiles in relief. "Your Majesty," she whispers in the wind, "the mission is accomplished. Your legacy is safe. Justice has been served not by swords, but by the power of truth and the foresight of a great-grandmother." William publicly called Louise the secret weapon from the very beginning. In your opinion, was this purely a brother's protection, or was it a calculated move to assert that he and Louise are the ones truly in control as King Charles weakens? Share your thoughts with us in the comment section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also click the next video showing on your screen.